Now then, the most successful British film in this year's Oscar nominations has been not the hugely lucrative Four Weddings and a Funeral, but The Madness of King George, which is yet to be seen in this country. It was adapted by Alan Bennett from his own stage play, The Madness of George III, and its title was changed. All right, I know you've all heard this before, but it still amuses me. It was changed because it was believed that American audiences would think The Madness of George III was a sequel, and they'd start wondering why they'd been deprived of The Madness of George Part 1 and The Madness of George Part 2. Isn't Hollywood a constant source of joy? Anyway, Alan Bennett's been nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, Nigel Hawthorne, who plays King George, for Best Actor, Helen Mirren, his Queen, as Best Supporting Actress, and Ken Adam for Best Art Direction. Part of the film was made at Eton College last summer, and that's where we joined the cast and crew for the following report.
This is probably the craziest gamble anybody's ever taken, because I don't know whether I can make a movie, and I don't think anybody will know that until it's out. So I've been enjoying it, I've been loving it. I wouldn't have done the film without Nigel Hawthorne. The partnership I created with Nigel when directing the play was one that I wasn't prepared to have dissolved, and I also think there is nobody in the world who could play the part the way he does.
It's the most wonderful role, and it's not the sort of thing you get tired of. There's too much variety in it. There's too much passion. There's too much humor. It covers a wide range of emotions. So I could play this till I dropped. We're doing the early part of the film. The king has been to the opening of Parliament, and one of the petitioners steps out and tries to assassinate him. She's taken away, and he watches her being taken away, little knowing that that is about to happen to him.
You murderous fiend! Oh, thank God I have you yet.
Do not fuss, madam. The king has no wound, just a torn waistcoat.
One would consider that almost as vexing.
What was that?
I was rejoicing so that you are unharmed.
The sun rejoices. The Prince of Wales rejoices.
She was an immensely likable woman, a very decent woman, a very loving woman. That the people around her who knew her and worked with her were very, very fond of her. So, and, you know, it was probably the only royal marriage in history which was completely happy and contented and loyal to each other.
Good evening, Mrs. King.
Good evening, Mr. King.
When we get this far, I call it dandy.
Yes, Mr. King.
I had a pear at supper.
2 pairs, sir. It's as tight as a drum.
I can't think of anything more glamorous than playing the Queen of England. I've always wanted to be the Queen of England, one way or another. And to get in a coach like we've got over there, which is like every little girl's dream come true, the real sort of Cinderella coach. And I've always loved to wear costumes.
This week has been the coolest week we've had, but it has been, that's the crowd, the London rabble, rabbling. Yeah, today's the coolest day, and it has been. It can get very hot. It is a bit like permanently wearing a woolly hat.
People laugh at me. What must I do to be taken seriously? I tell you, sir, to be Prince of Wales is not a position. It is a predicament.
It's a really excellent script, and it's got a lot of funny sort of parallels with today and today's royal family.
There's absolutely no doubt that Alan intended that there should be a comparison between the present Prince of Wales and the Prince Regent. The fact that he is waiting to become king, and the fact that there's a certain animosity between him and his father, which is, I think, traditional between the king, or the Prince Philip in this case, and the eldest son. And it seems to have gone on for centuries, that.
We must try to be more of a family. There are model farms now, model villages, even model factories. Well, we must be a model family for the nation to look to.
Yes, you must try to be more typical, Fred.
But, Pa, I want something to do. Do? Well, follow in my footsteps, that's what you should do.
It's terribly funny. It's got, it's full of jokes. It's by Alan Bennett. There's a savagery to it, and a grittiness to the way the subject is approached, that it's very important to reflect in the way it looks and the way it's shot.
My dream come true. At last, in my Cinderella coach. I've always wanted to be in a coach like this ever since I was 6 years old.
Look, I know this is jumping the gun a bit, but when The Madness of King George is released here next month, do yourselves a favour, rush to see it. It's a real gem, and Nicholas Hytner has done a tremendous job on his debut as a director.